Okay, I have to give Mitch credit for the design on these slides, so they're a little different than what we're used to probably. Can you guys see my screen there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, this meeting is designed to be very interactive, so feel free to chime in anytime. And I'll be the first one to admit that I have not been involved with this contest in a few years, and so but luckily we got some real good help along the way here, some experienced chairs, and well, we may be counting on some of you to help fill in some gaps here and there. So I may be our guide through this meeting, but we may be counting on some of you to help us answer some questions as we go. So if you can see that screen, you'll see there our Hippology chair is Nancy Rucker, horse bowl is Blake Ramsey, and we'll all, just the chairs and Mitch and myself will get together Friday afternoon before the contest next week and get everything lined up and in order. We'll be printing labels to go on the for each participant on Thursday, so that should be ready to go for Friday when we meet. All right, so here's our agents assigned list, and here in just a few minutes we will get to the actual specific assignments. So thank you all for being on here with us. We are expecting all agents to show up at 9 o'clock. The contest registration starts at 9:30. We'll have some setup to do before that. And our agents that are responsible for registration and check-in, we'd like to ask you to be there at 8:30. And we'll tell you who that is in just a minute. Sorry, I probably should have got that. Let me go to that so you'll know. Okay, check in. Congratulations, Whitney and Bethany. We're going to be counting on you guys to handle registration. So if you're there at 8:30, and then we'll be ready at 8:45 for registration, but officially it doesn't start till 9, but we know people like to show up early. Whitney and Destiny, you let me know if there's any problem with you guys being there on registration a little bit early. All right, so check-in is in Hollingsworth, and that'll be 9:30 to 10. Our activities will spread out between plant science, biotech, and Brim animal science. All of our scoring will be done in plant science room 115. Nancy, do you want to say anything about that?
No, when we get down through a few other things, I may do it then.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we'll have the opening ceremony and comments at 10 o'clock, and we've got a little bit of a rundown for that coming up later. And then we've got 3 divisions for both contests. We've got junior, junior high, 4th and 5th grade, and junior high, and seniors. Probably all of you are fairly familiar with this, but just to make sure, that Hippology contest has 3 parts. There's a written test, there's a PowerPoint where they'll identify different items and things, and then we've got the judging contest, which is done by video, and that will be on a thumb drive that will get loaded on each computer, and so that'll be happening in 3 different rooms. Juniors will be in plant science, junior high in biotech, seniors are in Brim. And I just realized I don't think that we sent this PowerPoint out to everybody that's on the call today. Do I need to do that real quick, or can we do that after the fact so you'll have the information? We'll send it to you right
afterwards would be good.
Yeah, you can do it after.
Okay, sorry about that. We were updating a few things on here today, and kind of I just realized we hadn't sent it out. So our orientation will happen in room 125, plant science, for everybody that's working the contest. and we're going to need a lot of volunteers. So if we could have a little discussion on that maybe at the end, that I think that would be a good idea. Scoring will be going on there in room 115, plant science. If you need anything or something is wrong, that's the place to get some help. We'll have some agents there in room 115, and then awards will be presented in Hollingsworth Auditorium as soon as it'll be done as a group. Okay, it says right after seating round. Okay. So we'll start with the Hippology contest, then we'll have the seating round, and hopefully during that time we'll have results figured out, and then we'll be able to present awards. For the Horse Bowl contest, those juniors are going to be in the Plant Science building, junior high in Biotech, seniors in Brim. We'll have probably 2 competition rooms per division. Depending on the number of junior teams, we may just do 1 room for the junior division. And so one big change this year is that we are going to do a study room for each division, not a holding room. So if anybody has questions about this, let me know. But we have so many questions for the Horse Bowl that it was discussed Tuesday night at the Region 4-H Horse Advisory Committee meeting. And we pretty much had a unanimous decision and support for not just having 1 question set for each round and trying to keep it secret and hold people and not let people watch the contest. So if you've been to the 4-H Clover Bowl contest at the region level, that's what it's going to be like. We'll have a random set of questions for each match between 2 teams. And so it's wide open for anybody to be in the room the whole time. It's a lot more fun spectator event that way. And so that is what we've got planned. If folks don't want to sit in the room, or if they want to go to another room and study, then for each division, we'll have a room where they can go and relax and visit, socialize, study, whatever they want to do, or they can just hang out in the competition room.
Hey, Ty.
So, does anybody have any questions about that before we go any farther? Let's stop there.
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Major change there. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. On the seating rounds, will they be different questions on the seating rounds, or will they be the same?
The seating round will have all the exact same questions asked to each team. And so that's the only fair way to do the seating, so that they all have the same opportunity. Exactly. Good question.
Good deal.
That's the right answer, right, Larry?
Yes, sir. That's for sure the right answer.
Okay. Good question. Anybody else? This will actually make, I think, the whole contest a little bit easier, and maybe not require quite as many volunteers moving people back and forth and all that kind of thing. Maybe simplify things, and should be a little more fun, I think, if you ask me. Okay, so
one thing you might want to
go ahead.
I'm sorry. One thing you might want to think about is still being able to keep those kids corralled there a little bit in order to be able to get them back when it's their turn to go back.
Okay, you're right, Larry, and that's what we were thinking. So by making 1 study room per division, we thought if they're not in their assigned competition room, then they need to be in that study room nearby, so we can make sure things are moving along pretty good.
Perfect. Thank you.
And we threw around different names for that room, and the best thing we come up with was study room. But if anybody has another suggestion, we would be open to that. So our
just call it the holding pen.
Holding pen. Holding pen.
Corral.
The corral. Corral. That might be it. All right. Good deal. So 2 seating round rooms per division. They'll be the same as those competition rooms. And again, we may just do 1 in the junior division. And then awards will be actually given out in those competition rooms after the finals. So that'll be instantaneous for the horse bowl. Here are our specific assignments. So again, Blake Ramsey's our chair of the horse bowl. Nancy Rucker is chair of hippology. Jennifer is going to be doing scoring and also be kind of a floater during the contest. Whitney Jackson will be doing check-in, registration, and scoring. And scoring for hippology. Destiny Brown will be a room monitor for junior hippology and horse bowl movement and check-in. Matt McHouston, room monitor for junior high hippology and horse bowl movement. And then Jenny Goodrich will be a room monitor for senior high hippology and then also horse bowl movement. Moving on, we got Sharon Davis is a reader with the junior horse bowl. Keith Bridges is a reader with junior horse bowl. Danielle Pleasant is a reader with junior high horse bowl. Rachel York, reader for junior high horse bowl. Larry Mitchell will be a reader with senior horse bowl. And Lena Beth will be a reader for senior horse bowl. We're also going to have Jacob, and I cannot think of his last name, that did the SharePoint manual this summer. He's going to be there with us to help with scoring for hippology, so that will be a welcome thing and help keep everything moving along really well. Let's see, so reminder for Whitney and Destiny, we'd like for you to be there at 8:30. Everybody else by 9, I think is what we said, and hopefully we'll be ready to go ahead and check people in a little early at 8:45. We do have separate check-in sheets for the hippology contest and another check-in sheet for horse bowl, so they need to hit both of those if they're participating in both contests. At this point, does anybody have any questions about their assignments? Let's take just a second. And I'm not in a spot here where I'm monitoring chat real well. So Nancy, could I ask you if you notice anything in the chat to throw that out?
Sure. Definitely.
Hey, this is Jenny. I'm on the phone calling in. I had to get where I could get a phone signal. I just needed to let you know my daughter will be in that senior division. I don't think it'll make a difference, but I just wanted you to know she's in there in case somebody wonders.
Okay. Yeah.
You got me assigned to senior.
You're in senior and your daughter's in senior, you're saying?
Yes. And
okay.
Just so that they know.
And I don't think that's a problem unless anybody else does. That might be a benefit to you to get to watch a little bit.
I love it, but just so you know that she'll be there. I'm probably harder on her than anybody else.
So we'll have the reader and the room judge should make any hard decisions, and you just kind of make sure everybody's got what they need there and that the teams are there when they're supposed to be there. So I think that'll be fine.
Good deal. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm glad you mentioned that you're online because we didn't know for sure who everybody was that called in. So Nancy will handle our hippology orientation. That will be at 9:30, and that's going to be for all agents and volunteers working with hippology, and that includes the room monitors, tabulation, scoring, runners, facilitators, and anybody else we can think of. And Nancy, if you want to say anything, feel free to chime in here. But we'll have a good rundown for you of what everybody's doing at that point. Blake primarily will be responsible for the opening ceremony. Nancy will still be leading that orientation for hippology. So we'll have the pledges. And Blake, it looks like we're going to ask you to be responsible for getting a few folks together to do that. Okay. Maybe between now and then we might have some all-star members there that we know of, but I don't know that without Mitch on here, I don't think we know that answer right now.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Okay. we can talk on Friday.
I was envisioning Mitch welcoming everybody.
And that could happen. We may be able to talk him into that.
I'm kidding.
I will.
I'm
Yeah,
fine.
I will say this. There's like a PowerPoint with the opening. So if you all have that, Blake may want to get that a little bit earlier, just so he can look through it and go through it. But we'll go over it Friday as well.
Okay, I've got a copy of last year's. I have not done much with it, so I'll get that copy to you, Blake. And that sounds good.
Okay, one more question while we're on this. That meeting we're doing at 1 Friday, that's Zoom, right?
Well, not so
Mhm.
much, but I
No.
don't think I've talked to you about that, so I wondered if you'd be able to get there.
We
were thinking in person.
I don't know if I'm be able to make it in person, but I can do. I'll talk to you about it.
Okay, we'll make do with whatever we have to do.
Yeah.
All right. We can definitely meet by Zoom, and then whoever's there can continue on with whatever needs to be done. All right. So some things we're going to cover, kind of give a complete rundown of instructions for the contest. We'll let folks know their division and their room number and location. Maybe give a few directions, and then make sure that every 4-H'er has the proper cards and labels. They'll stick their own labels on when they get those at registration, I think. So there's a Hippology ID answer sheet. There's a Hippology written test answer sheet. And then there's 2 placing cards, just like at any judging contest, for those 2 video classes. And then that label for every card that will have the barcode on it for that, to identify that individual 4-H member. So we'll have 3 different colors, and I learned that these go in alphabetical order from the youngest to the oldest. So junior is blue, junior high is green, and seniors is yellow. In 16 years of working as a 4-H agent, I don't think I ever put any thought into figuring that out, but now I know. So we do want the kids and the parents and everybody there to have fun and enjoy the day. We hope it's going to be a little bit educational, but most of that happens beforehand, and hopefully they'll enjoy the competition. So be sure that everybody completes all their answer sheets. Don't leave anything blank. I think I read a note that on the score sheets, there's a matching section, and they need to write the word inside the box. And so that's very important. That's something we may talk about on Friday, just to make sure we got in our notes on what to share with them at the opening ceremony when we give those instructions. How to place that card, select only one response, and then we'll have the keys to the test, the ID, and the judging. The judges' placings will be emailed out the next week. So that's normally the way that's done. And 4-H members can actually walk out the door and keep their written test. So they're going to record their answers on another sheet, and they can just hold on to that test and walk out with it. Anything there that else that we need to cover from some of our experienced folks?
I'm going to say this now, and I'll probably say it 10 more times, but the front of those cards for the multiple choice, and then when they get to IDs, look exactly the same until they flip them over. So they will hear that a couple of times, but those that are running the rooms, please, please, please make sure that they are using those large cards on the front, look exactly the same until they flip them over. And some of them have started on one, and they flip it over, and that's not the back of what they need to be doing. So just FYI.
Right. So we're going to announce this with everybody, but the most important part is when they get to the room to make sure that we say it again and have everybody look at that card and make sure they're starting off with the right thing. That's good, Nancy. Thank you. Okay, so the seating round has 2 purposes for the horse bowl. First of all, it gets everybody kind of used to the equipment And then second of all, we can create a fair bracket so we don't end up with the two best teams together in the first round, and then somebody goes home without a good finish. So that makes everything as fair as we can make it. So that's where we'll start with horse bowl. Then the Hippology awards will be given out in the auditorium after that seeding round. The horse bowl awards will be given in those rooms right after the championship match in each division. So new this year, this is where Mitch threw this in. I jumped the gun a little bit, but each room and contest will have a separate set of questions. And so for that reason, the teams and members and coaches and spectators can all sit in on any contest they want to, provided there's enough space in the room. So we've got that study room I mentioned, or the corral, and the only thing we say is basically that those teams stay in one of those two rooms, the competition room or the study room corral, so that we can find them if they're on deck for a match. And also that people don't move in and out of those rooms during a match. So in between matches, they can move in and out of the rooms, move around. But during a match, it'd be great if everybody was in their seats and not any distractions. So one other reason that we wanted to consider this change, we're always concerned about having a fair contest and avoiding any even hint of unfair play, I guess, or cheating, you could say. But in these days, everybody's got a cell phone, and it's so easy for people to text information. And I think it's almost impossible to police all that when one team goes in and has one set of questions and they know what those questions are, and it might be 30 minutes later or longer before another team goes in and they've got friends on each team. So I think this is going to be a better situation. So I hope everybody feels good about that. All right, items to cover for that opening. 4-Hers cannot have cell phones out during any of the competition. If there's an emergency, then they can get a room monitor and take care of whatever it needs that's happening. No recording devices are allowed in any of the horse bowl rooms. If anybody notices somebody recording the contest, we will ask them to leave, so we'll count on those room monitors to do that. In the Hippology contest, only the 4-Hers will be allowed in those rooms, and that's just because of the lack of space. Some of those rooms are going to be pretty crowded for the Hippology contest, and we just don't have the space for everybody to be in there, and it doesn't make for a great spectator event anyways, but we'll ask the parents and the coaches to hang out probably in Hollingsworth during that time, or they may go to the holding room nearby. Horse bowl, parents, coaches, and other spectators are welcome and encouraged to watch as many of those matches as they want to. We know space could be an issue, and so that there may not be enough space for everybody to be in there all the time, especially in the early rounds, but folks are encouraged to make that a fun spectator event. For the Hippology contest, that test, the PowerPoint ID, and the DVD will all be done in that same room, so they will not move around. They'll hit one room for Hippology and they'll stay right there. We'll use the computers and the smart classroom equipment in each room to put the ID and the video judging up on the projector on the big screen. And then they'll have the written test, and all scoring will be done electronically with the showware system. All right, looking at room monitors for Hippology. That's Jenny Goodrich in senior, Animal Science 263. Matt McHouston will be the junior high room monitor in Biotech 160. And it says backup is 156, 157. Not sure totally why that's there. I think Mitch added that in. But hopefully it'll be Biotech 160, and then Destiny Brown will handle the junior room for Hippology, and Plant Science 125. We'll need at least one, hopefully 2 or 3 or 4 volunteers with each room to handle anything that comes up along the way and help keep things moving smoothly and kind of monitor. One thing that, well, I think we got this somewhere. Okay, so room monitors during Hippology, we would like for you, when you first get to that room, to take a photo of the room before you do any setup, just with your phone or whatever, so that we can try to get it back as close as possible to the way it was when we showed up. And so I think that's a pretty normal thing these days. So just try to remember to take that step when you first get there to the room before you move anything. We'll need to connect the computers that you'll get from Plant Science 115 to the room presentation system or the smart room system to display that ID in the judging classes. We'll need to verify that the correct ID is open for each division. There's a different written test for each division, and I think there's a different ID set for each division. What they judge, the 2 judging classes, I believe, will be the same for all divisions, but those other 2, we need to make sure we're opening the correct division file to put that on the big screen. Also, go ahead and make sure that you've got the correct 4-Hers in the room. If 99% of them are correct, that's not good. We want 100%. So just make sure everybody's in the right place and that they have the right card for their division. If you see anybody with a different colored card, we need to figure out what the deal is. And those cards should all be labeled. So if you see any cards that don't have labels, then we got to issue 2. And just like Nancy was saying, use the test sheet for the test answers and make sure they use the ID sheet for the ID answers. And so at the beginning of each of those activities, we probably just need to make sure everybody takes a careful look at their card and make sure they've got the right one to use. And then ensure that 4-Hers identify which placing card is for each specific class. So there will be 2 sets of horses to judge, and so they need to make sure they write on that placing card, I guess, class 1 or class 2. Is that correct, Nancy?
I think it should be on the label.
Okay, maybe it's going to. So the key is that they use the correct one. They need to look at their label to make sure that they've got the right card. Otherwise, they're going to score the wrong class. Okay, that makes sense.
Sometimes they'll have them right at the top just so that they know that that's the one that they're judging or whatever. But I think it's on the label.
Okay. All
Whitney may remember. I don't. So.
I'm not sure that it's on the label, but I can say either way. We'll double check it that day for sure. So for administering the test, we'll give the 4-Hers plenty of time to complete the test. If someone is not done at the end and most all have completed, you can give them an extra 5 or 10 minutes after you get down to 1 person, and then at that point we probably need to collect it, but normally that's not a big deal. The ID slides are all in a PowerPoint, and each slide is going to be timed. So once you put the first slide up, we just sit back and watch, and then we'll actually let the slides go through 2 times. There'll be a number, I believe, on each slide, so they'll know what number they're on. And everybody's done as soon as we get through every slide the second time. So that'll repeat twice. The judging classes are all videos that do have sound, but let's turn the sound off, and it's not going to be of any benefit. So last year, I believe that this is just an example of what the classes were. They're not. They might end up the same, but I think they're going to be something different. So last year, for example, class 1 was Arabian geldings, and class 2 was Western pleasure. we'll see what they are this year. And we'll run each video one time, and then they mark their card and turn it in. So each video for the judging classes only runs once. And I think that'll be plenty of time for them to make their decisions. If you have any youth with special needs, we can accommodate those. We can have a volunteer read questions for that test. I don't know what other needs would come up, but we will definitely do our best to accommodate those. So don't hesitate to ask if you need anything special, and that's one reason we like to have a few volunteers in each room in case anything like that comes up. Hopefully we know about those things in advance and we can be ready for that. All right, continuing with room monitor responsibilities. Again, they can keep that written test when they're all done. And then those keys with the answers will be emailed out to their agents the following week. Before the 4-H members exit that room, we want to make sure and tell them that we'd like for them to go back to the auditorium. They'll have food available there from Knox County 4-H. And then they'll have the awards there after the seating round. But if they head back to the auditorium, then they'll be ready for the seating round to start. That's where everything's going to gather up again. So once the contest is completed, everyone leaves the room. Then those folks in that Hippology room will need to make sure that we put the room back just like it was when we arrived. So take a little time to do that, clean up any messes that are made, and we just want to make sure everything was just like it was when you walked in, or probably a little better. All right, so on Hippology scoring, we'll be doing our scoring in room 115 in plant science. And again, if anybody needs something, that's probably a good place to go get some help. Computer scoring will be used with showware. We'll have 6 computers, and that'll be for junior high, and senior. So Whitney Jackson will kind of be the leader on the crew, along with Jacob that was the intern this summer at the region office. And then Jennifer Gilbert, I think we're going to maybe count on being in there. Some volunteers to scan and score those sheets, to grade the sheets basically, and we'll be, I think, using those wands to do some of that. And then Nancy will be there to assist also. And I'll probably be hanging around that area too. All right. So some of our needs for volunteers for Hippology, we'd like to have 1 runner for each division. We'd like to have 4 volunteers for scoring. And then if we need a special need kind of situation, they can help with that. Let's see, I already told you about the keys being emailed the next week, and then we'll need to coordinate with the volunteers and present those awards for Hippology right after the scoring round. May need a little help with some volunteers for that. So what I've heard is that this volunteer situation, that it never looks like we're going to have enough, and then at the end we always have plenty. So I have faith that that's going to work itself out. That's the way it seems to be at Outdoor Meat Cookery too, every year. So Nancy will be our key person if somebody has a special need, to make sure that they're accommodated and taken care of. So if you don't see her, you're welcome to come to me or Mitch or somebody else, but she's going to be the key one, that if we do have a need, she'll make sure we do that correctly and get them the best help to have a good experience, and probably have some volunteers that do the individual assistance. Okay, just to kind of double check, this is the important stuff that we need to make sure we catch for Hippology. administering those tests. Confirm that you have the correct test for your grade level. Confirm with the 4-Hers they're using the correct form, that form has the right label on it, should have their name and their county at least. But if they're an add-on, it at least needs to have their name and county. If for some reason we don't have a barcode, absolutely has to have their name and county on it. Hopefully everybody has a barcode and all that kind of thing. Participants should not be seated next to someone from his or her county. So we want to separate people from the same county. So if, that is one thing we'll ask everybody to do in their individual rooms. After confirming all of that, give everybody plenty of time to complete the written test. Again, if you have anybody with special needs, give them a good 10 more minutes before requiring all papers turned in. Then we'll, let's see. All right, and then we'll keep the same timing on the identification that's set up in the PowerPoint, so no problem there. We'll have 6 machines from the Eastern region for scoring. Mitch is going to have those questions ready for the seating round. So every room will have a booklet with each set of questions in it, and you read one set of questions on a page. That'll be a match. You'll flip that sheet to the next page for the next round, the next match. Not the next round, the next match. And it'll just continue. It doesn't matter what sheet we use with which round. We're just going to flip through that booklet in order and use those sheets. And then we'll have an official score sheet that we'll need to fill out as we go along, just in case there's any question about scoring. And I believe Mitch is going to have the system where we can project in some of the rooms to have the score on the big screen. I think he was starting to work on that the other day, so hoping to have that in effect. But if we don't have that in every room, we'll have a whiteboard or something like that to keep score on, I think. So Horse Bowl, that orientation will include the judges, the readers, the scorekeepers, and the quiz operators. That will be held in Biotech 113. And they said for me to really stress that no matter what else is going on, unless you absolutely have a commitment that you're assigned to at that moment, that we need every one of those folks to be there at 11 a.m., Biotech 113, to be in on that orientation. So agents and everybody. Blake and Mitch will lead that. And then we've asked the judges, if they're just getting there to judge and be a Horse Bowl judge, to be there by 11 for that meeting. We've got a few judges identified we'll talk about in a minute. Could use a few more. And then if you're assigned, we just can't start that meeting until we know everybody's there. We need everybody to hear the same information. We want it to be consistent. So please be there at 11 and make sure and spread that word if you see anybody as you're walking there and they're not headed there. So in the Horse Bowl, in the seating round, we'll have a reader, a judge, and a quiz operator. Okay, my understanding is the judge is somebody that's very knowledgeable about horses and horse science and all that kind of thing. And if there's a discrepancy or they give an answer that's close, it's not exactly what's on the page, then they'll interpret that and say correct or not correct if there's any question. If everything's cut and dry, then they may not have much to do. And then the same people that do that for each seating, for the seating round, will also do the same thing for the matches in the bracket for the competition. The seating round is only one team in the seating in the room, so that we can get them seated pretty accurately. So one team in a room for seating. We don't have any coaches, parents, or agents in that room during the seating round. They ask 8 questions. They get 1 bonus question, and the judge records the score on the sheet. These are different rules versus the regular horse bowl or clover bowl. The brackets are made after that, and the higher score gets the low or most desirable seed, and going down from there. I think that everybody understands how that works. So to get started on that seeding round, we need all the 4-Hers to be in Hollingsworth. We'll collect teams and take them to the appropriate division holding rooms. After that opening ceremony, each team will answer, never mind, not opening ceremony, but each team will answer those questions, and we'll have a team on deck ready to enter, just like a batter on deck. So we'll try to keep that moving as quick as possible, because that can slow the whole day down if we don't keep that moving very efficiently. And then as soon as they finish the seeding round, then they'll head back to Hollingsworth. All right, for horse bowl, here are our agents and locations. So we got Larry Mitchell with seniors in Animal Science 130. Also Lena Beth in Animal Science 136 with senior high. Junior high will be Danielle in 160 Biotech and Rachel York in Biotech 113. Junior division, Sharon Davis, Plant Science 128. And junior division, Keith Bridges, Plant Science 124. And those are our readers. And so that's also for the seeding round as well. Same deal. And if the numbers dictate, we may end up with just 1 junior room. We'll see how that looks. So we'll have the reader, the judge, a scorekeeper that does the visual scorekeeper. Maybe electronic this year, we're hoping. If not, we'll have a chalkboard or a dry erase board. And then we'll have an official scorekeeper that keeps score on paper. If you've ever done that at Clover Bowl, if you haven't done it at Horse Bowl, it's pretty much the same thing. And then a quiz operator that's going to operate the buzzer system. All right. At this point, is there any comments or questions, or anybody have anything to share before I keep rolling along? Okay, I think I don't want to waste anybody's time, so we'll try to get this wrapped up here in a few minutes. So the seniors, again, 130 and 136, and their study room will be Animal Science 263. So I wish it was a little closer. It's upstairs, but that's their study room or corral. Junior high will be in Biotech 113 and 160, and then that study room will be the big Biotech 156, 157 room. And on the junior, I'm sorry, let's see. We didn't get that. So on junior, it says senior. Y'all can see that right here, but I think that's supposed to say junior. Sorry about that. So in fact, I think I will have to fix that right now. And then this is junior high. Sorry about that. Okay. The horse bowl brackets, Blake and Mitch will be sort of the lead on those. They're going to have, I believe, 2 sets for each division. They'll post one of those sets in the study room and one in the competition room, but that makes me think we need 3, right? 3 brackets. If there's 2 rooms plus the study room. Okay, so
Yeah.
Okay, so we need 3 sets right there. Brackets will be made over in the biotech conference room, and that's where we need to bring the seeding scores as soon as they are available. So if you're doing the seeding round, as soon as that last team has their score, just send somebody straight over to Biotech 118 so that they can get those brackets made up. That's another place where if we don't get that right away, it can extend our day longer than we would like. So let's make that happen pretty quick, even if the rest of them are left there and have a few things to do. So after the seeding round, we're going to direct all those 4-Hers, parents, volunteers, coaches, everybody into Hollingsworth. We'll have awards for Hippology while those brackets are being made. And lunch will be available during and after the seeding rounds, courtesy of Knox County 4-H. There is that's a fundraiser for them, I believe. So be prepared for that with a little bit of money. And then after those brackets are posted, we will start the horse bowl contest. So just a few guides for parents and coaches. If you've got teams coming, this is definitely something I want to share with them in advance so they're not surprised. Parents and coaches will not be able to go into those Hippology rooms during that Hippology contest at all for the ID, the test, or the judging, and that's just because the rooms aren't large enough. If we have special needs, we can adapt to handle that. They'll be able to go into the horse bowl rooms, and the only limitation there is space. So if they find that it's standing room only, if they want to come back when their teams are competing or step out after their team is done, that might be a good courtesy. We'll just see how that goes. Since this is the first time we're handling that, we'll know a lot more of how to handle that after this year. And Blake Ramsey will be the manager there of that deal. So what are we going to need? Need everybody to be on time. This is a very labor-intensive day, and they tell me it's one of the toughest days to make happen and just manage everything, and it's got a lot of moving parts. So we're really counting on everybody to take care of what they're supposed to do, starting with being on time and knowing what to do. If you have any questions at all, I'd say contact me. It might be better to talk to Mitch or Nancy or Blake, but we will make sure that we get your questions answered. No problem. Please do ask if there's anything you're not sure about. We want you to feel good about your responsibilities and understand what's expected and what needs to happen. So if you see something we may have overlooked, let us know. There's no question that shouldn't be asked. So any questions, just fine. We want to have an accurate check-in, hopefully, with member names and counties, and then get those 4-Hers going with their scorecard and their names and their counties on there. We'll need to find volunteers and recruit those volunteers, hopefully in advance. If y'all can help us a little bit between now and then, you can enter in Super and the registration. You can enter volunteers, and we'll know that, hey, we got some volunteers coming from whatever county. We'll have our computer and software all set, tests and answer sheets, the ID, all that stuff that we've got to have from here. We'll have it. 4-Hers should not have their cell phones out. We will make sure our scoring is accurate, double check before posting. And we'll have those quiz machines. We'll have 6 of them, and the region already has those, so we're all set there. I'm going to keep going because I don't hear anything happening, but you guys let me know if you have any comments or questions. Movement during the horse bowl, those juniors, I guess the corral room is Plant Science 125, so the monitors just need to make sure that the next set of teams are in the room. So while the team that's in the next match is walking up or doing a buzzer check, you can make sure those next 2 teams are in the room. If they're not, you can head to the corral room and get them. So again, we'll have a different set of questions asked every single match. And so that's a change from what's been done all years in the past, as far as I know, or at least for quite a while. And Blake Ramsey is the manager of this. He's got his name on all these slides. So junior high, we'll have that corral room in Biotech 156, 157. Same deal. I think you got that. And then senior high, that holding room will be upstairs in Animal Science 263. And I think we got this procedure figured out, so I'm not going to go into detail. Horse Bowl awards will be done at the end, right there in the rooms where they have the final championship match. We'll provide rosettes for each team member of the top 4 teams in each division. Readers in each division will work together to coordinate awards for your division. And then the reader should bring the completed bracket, scorebooks, and question booklets to scoring when finished. I think it'd be ideal for the whole team there to work together to get that done, get everything back, including the score buzzer system and all that. So make sure all that equipment is packed up and brought back to scoring, and the room needs to be cleaned and returned to the original layout. Larry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to jump off here right quick. I just wanted to let you know I just didn't want to leave without telling you.
Okay, we're about to wrap up, so you're not far off. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so one question, if anybody knows this, how do we if we have 2 rooms for Horse Bowl, how do we designate which room, where does the finals happen? Did we just announce that and make that decision, or is there anything special that needs to happen with that?
It actually said on the senior one.
Okay, it said it on there. I just missed it.
It had a champion and a consolation.
Okay, that's a done deal. I just skipped over that. That's what it was. Okay, yeah. And our Horse Bowl judges are kind of special people that really know horses inside and out. And so we've got 3 lined up right now, thanks to Blake, that will be in those rooms to take care of any questions that come up or uncertainty about a question, an answer to a question. And so we've got those 3 that are on your screen. There were 6 last year that helped with that. And I was thinking maybe I should mention them in case somebody knows them and could maybe see if you do know them, because I don't know them. I'm not sure where they all came from, other than Lacey I know. Let me pull that up real quick. All right. So our judges last year were Julie Stanley, Kim King, Lacey Johnson, and Lacey's not available, but she's been working on trying to get us some folks. Rebecca Olmstead is on this year, and she did it last year. Deborah Scarlett and Michelle Whitlow Thompson. So again, if anybody has a suggestion on somebody that would be good to serve as a judge, we definitely like to be in contact with them, or if you want to check with them and then follow up with us. We are putting a lot of feelers out. We think we could put Larry Mitchell in as the judge in the room where he's the reader if we need to, but it'd be even better if we had a separate person there to handle that. So any comments from anybody right now?
Hi, this is Danielle.
Hey, Danielle. It's a little quiet there, but we can hear you.
Julie Stanley is in Georgia now.
Okay. So we'll not try to contact her. Thank you. All right.
Hey, Ty.
Yes.
I'd sent out a few more emails and not heard back. I'll say their names. I don't know any of these people, but if anybody does have somebody they can contact, that would be great. And I'll list the people I've sent emails to that I've not heard back. But what I also thought, if we do get some people from the college equestrian team, if we did have a couple agents that were knowledgeable that could be judges, and we could let some of those collegiate kids be a reader if we got in a bind. But I did send out Susan Scarlett, Deborah Scarlett, Michelle Whitlow, and then Ashley Phillips. I've actually emailed them. I've not heard anything back. I don't know if anybody knows them, but I sent them an email about participating. So,
what county is Michelle Whitlow from? I know that name. Jefferson. Okay.
All three of those are Susan and
Okay.
Deborah and Michelle are all Jefferson.
Okay. Did you hear that, Blake?
yes, the Susan that it said, or well, let's see.
Susan's a vet.
Michelle, Susan.
Right.
Deborah Scarlett. Deborah and Susan are sister-in-laws.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll keep plugging away there and see what we can figure out then. And you're right. I mean, we've got agents that are knowledgeable. I mean, I could sit in there and do it too, but I don't know that that I'll be able to sit in a room and do that. But
Right.
we've got some flexibility for sure. So we'll make it happen.
And I sent Jenny Ivy. I sent her an email too. But
Okay, good. I think we both did. So we're making sure we're covering everybody. So hopefully we'll get some responses. Okay, so we're going to wrap up here, but is there anybody else that wants to share anything, or if you remember anything from last year that we need to maybe bring up or remember as we're going on Saturday, this would be a good time to do that.
This is Nancy. I just want to make sure everybody knows to stay a little bit after we're done, because we need to make sure that everything is picked up and cleaned up as good or better than what we left it. So usually with the rooms, as they're clearing out, people are going in, taking all the signs down, all that sort of thing. Usually that last room that we have to clean up is there at Hollingsworth. So as people are coming back to get their stuff, if they've been out watching the different horse bowl competition. So just to encourage or make sure everybody understands that.
Yeah, that's good advice. So if as an agent that's assigned, if you wouldn't mind to make sure you're released, or if you've got a long drive, we don't mind you asking, but just make sure we're all set before you take off. And I know that'll mean a lot to all of us if you're committed to the day. Appreciate it. Okay, well, guys, this is new for me, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you for being part of this. I hope I didn't make it too boring. I hope we covered what we needed to, and look forward to a really big day a week from Saturday for the Horse Bowl and Hippology contest. So thank you all for everything you do. You got my ultimate respect as 4-H agents, and really appreciate all of you. Thank you.